Hello everyone and welcome to MJ Central, and in today's video we're going to be talking about a brand new documentary that's in the works about Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch Zoo. So without further ado, let's get started. That's right everybody, today we're going to be talking about a new documentary that will be coming out soon. As always, we have an article to read and then we'll talk about it. So without further ado, here we go. Alright everybody, so here we have an article that says Ross Kemp fronts rare ITV doc Michael Jackson's Zoo. Let's get started with the article. Rare TV has won a primetime commission from ITV for Searching for Michael Jackson's Zoo, a 75-minute documentary special that looks at the fate of the exotic animals kept by the King of Pop at his Neverland Ranch. Searching for Michael Jackson's Zoo, which airs on ITV next month, is a co-production between Rare TV and Freshwater Films, fronted by BAFTA winning actor, author, and presenter Ross Kemp. The film sets out to discover what happened to the menagerie, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, that Jackson acquired from captive breeders and animal poachers around the world. At its peak, Jackson's Zoo hosted 124 exotic animals, including zebras, giraffes, elephants, lions, tigers, and his famous pet chimpanzee, Bubbles. Following Jackson's death in 2009, the zoo was dismantled and the animals dispersed. But where did they end up? Kemp embarks on a journey across the U.S. to find out, and swiftly discovers that the thriller star's reputation as an animal lover masks a disturbing truth, that not only was Jackson largely indifferent to his animals' welfare, but that many of the creatures in his care were neglected and maltreated. So here everybody just shows who's involved in this documentary and all the people like vice presidents and directors and all that stuff. Alexander Gardiner, CEO of Rare TV, said to the outside world, Bubbles the chimp was one of Michael Jackson's closest companions. The truth is much darker, as Ross Kemp reveals in his compelling but troubling documentary. Both creatively and commercially, this project is a milestone for Rare TV. Not only is Searching for Michael Jackson's Zoo documentary making of the highest caliber, but it marks our first primetime production for ITV. That's the icing on the cake in a year that has seen Rare TV deliver 16 different titles for 10 different channels. Ross Kemp said, for obvious reasons, Michael Jackson's legacy has been ruined for many people, but he remains an idol for millions. Part of that fascination comes from his Neverland home, and one of his key features, bizarre for some, magical for others, with his extraordinary collection of animals. But so little is known about the fate of many that became celebrities in their own right during Jackson's career. But after traveling nearly 3,000 miles across the United States, the search gave me a new insight into the singer and opened my eyes to our continued uncomfortable relationship with wild animals. And everybody, that is the end of this article. Now, let's talk about this. Everybody, just before we actually get talking about it, I'm sorry about the glare right here. I don't know why he's doing that, and I'm sorry if it's distracting, so I'm sorry about that, but here we go. Everybody, just going to be honest with you. From what I've read, well, what we've read right now, this seems like tabloid junk, okay? And this is why. Everybody, the first red flag is as this will be airing on ITV. What else aired on ITV? Living with Michael Jackson, a bogus documentary that ended terribly for Michael Jackson. And from what we read from the article, when he said clearly Michael Jackson's reputation or whatever has been ruined by many people, you can tell that this is a one-sided thought of how he thinks about Michael Jackson. So from what I've read right now, and what we've read, is that this is clearly going to be trying to show, or at least from what we can gather, the information that we just gathered, that it's going to try to show a dark meaning behind the zoo at Neverland Ranch. And I'm going to be talking about why that just seems so bogus in my mind. First of all, the whole malnourished thing, I'm going to say that is BS. Sorry for the language, but that's BS. While Michael Jackson was at Neverland or not at Neverland, there were always so many zookeepers there taking care of the animals, feeding them, doing all that stuff. They weren't always caged. Michael used to let the elephants just roam around freely. Also, we do know that a lot of the animals have been given to other places so it can live a free, happy life. And there's even reports that, some of the more exotic animals even went to Zoe Exotic, who was famous for being in Tiger King. Michael had so much love and care for his animals, and they can't even talk about anything about Bubbles because we have so many receipts that shows Bubbles is living a happy life. I don't know where he is at the moment, but I know he is at, I can't remember the place that he's at right now, but you can definitely look it up. And, you can even buy his art. So there can't be anything dark behind Bubbles when you can literally go and buy his art right now. And even Latoya has visited him. The story about Bubbles, if you guys don't know, is that chimpanzees, once they get, they're like teenagers, as Michael Jackson said in an interview. And, once they get to that age, they want to fight you rather than really, like, be your friend, like how Bubbles was, with Michael during, like, the bad era and stuff like that. So Bubbles had to go. Michael didn't put him in, like, this bad place in, like, zoo where he's locked up and all that stuff. He's at a free place where he could be with other chimps and be happy. So, from what we gathered, to me, it seems like they're going to try to turn Neverland Zoo into something that is obviously completely not. As you guys know from other documentaries that have come out, I'm not going to say the name because I know you know what I'm talking about. These things just cannot be trusted when it comes to Michael Jackson. These journalists are not doing their job when it comes to Michael Jackson. I'm not trying to make this sound like a rant video. As you guys know, the goal with MJ Central is to give you all the new news and updates. So that means sometimes, unfortunately we have to tackle into things that we don't always want to talk about, like the allegations and stuff like this. Now, can I be wrong? And it won't show Michael, and Neverland Zoo as bad there, but maybe it might show how things happened afterwards. After they left, maybe some deals were made and they had to go to other places. And this is a thing that we have to keep so many options for. Can we stay optimistic, or are we going to be looking Because right now I'm already looking Unfortunately, even to this day, they're still trying to make, people turn away from Michael Jackson. And are they going to do this now by saying, he wasn't caring to his animals? Well, we know that's just so untrue. People were at Neverland all the time, and I'm not even talking about workers there. Obviously Michael was there and family, but I'm talking about, Michael used to let underprivileged children and their families come to Neverland. So you're telling me that if all of these families are going to Neverland, okay, and seeing the zoo, because the zoo wasn't off limits, of course, people could go to the zoo, Michael's kids could go to the zoo, So if all these families who have no relation to Michael Jackson are coming and they're going to the zoo, and there's not one story about seeing an alligator malnourished or an elephant malnourished, whatever, and saying that there's a dark meaning there, come on, with all the families, that something would have said something if this was true. So if they're going to try to put this on, I'm not trying to make it, but if they're trying to put this on Michael's side, so I think that is so far-fetched. And if something does come out of this, I know fans will be there with receipts, just like in Leaving Neverland, where they were there with receipts about the whole train station lie. That's something that, of course, the fans did. And if that needs to happen again, I have great faith that it will happen again. Because we know while Michael was at Neverland, he always owned Neverland, but of course until 2005 he was there full-time, and of course afterwards he left and went to Bahrain and Ireland and stuff like that. And there were still chefs and all that people at Neverland, and just to show this is what I'm saying, this is a whole if situation, because of course the documentary isn't out yet, but just from that article it just sounded, bad, could it be clickbait? Okay, so there's so many things going around right now that we have to think about. Are they going to make a show bad that how just after they left, when Michael had no control, maybe something happened there? Maybe that's what they're talking about, the dark meaning. Are they talking about the dark meaning about them being at Neverland? That's the route that they might go. I find it highly unlikely that it is the true route. And are they saying all this for clickbait so you can watch it? Because as you guys know, Michael Jackson's name sells. You could put anything on TV, on papers with the name Michael Jackson, and people are going to be hooked right onto it. Is this what they're doing now? Could be. Like I said, I don't trust ITV before, they went into the whole thing with Mun Bashir about Princess Diana, but they didn't for Michael Jackson, which I think is not fair at all. And so I think that's already a red flag for it being on ITV, but at the end of the day, it is just a channel, but I just have, not a good feeling about that. But, I feel like 2022 and, stuff like that, it's kind of becoming Michael's year with success of MJ1 and MJ the Musical, early success in 2022. So could this be trying to something to take that away? I don't think anything will come out of this. I did have the same feelings for when Inside the Mind came out, and clearly nothing big happened there. And of course I made a video for that, and I'm making a video for this now, not to promote that. This isn't the point of the video. The point of the video is, like I said, is to give you all the news, saying how unfortunately you have to tackle these situations. But everybody, the documentary is not out yet. And I guess we have to be patient. Am I going to watch this documentary? Probably not. If I'm going to keep it real with you guys, I'm probably not going to be watching this documentary. If I read some crazy articles about it, then maybe I'll try to find it. I think this is just going to be something as of now, like I said, from what I read, from what I gathered, it might try to be tabloid junk. And if that stuff ever happens, I know the Michael Jackson fan community will bounce right on that and debunk any claims. Like I said, that's if they're going for all this dark stuff was happening at Neverland. If it's happening after Neverland, when it wasn't in Michael's control after his death or whatever, then you know what, I guess it's something that we can't control, because I guess we're not always going to know what's going to happen afterwards. You know, if I were to sell this CD, you know, I don't know what's going to happen afterwards, right? But what I can say is that there is no doubt in my mind, in anybody's minds, how much love Michael Jackson had for animals and for animals and just people from all over the world. He always wanted to help. You know, there's pictures of him holding koalas and kangaroos and all this stuff, and of course him with his snake and all this stuff. So I don't think there is any dark meaning. I think it's rather they're trying to portray it in one way, or just clickbait for you to watch the documentary. As they said, this is going to be the biggest score they had, so of course they're going to try to maybe stir things up so you can watch it. And like I said, I don't want, of course, any controversy, but if there is, I think they're just going to be talking about after Neverland, as they said, because they're going on a trip to see all of it. Well, if you want to see Bubbles, you know, like I said, it's in a very happy, safe place making art. So clearly, Bubbles is still living a great life. And I know some of the other places went to Zoo Exotic. Some of the other animals and stuff went to Zoo Exotic and stuff like that. So I don't think, you know, in my mind, I know this is sound like a van, and I'm really not trying to, I'm sorry. But I just can't get over the fact, or I can't put in my mind that, you know, they're trying to make Neverland Zoo a dark place. I think that's really stretching it. And I know you guys feel the same way. And leave me your thoughts down below, of course. I'd love to hear them. But, you know what? Like I said, and like I always say, we just have to stay optimistic. Because a part of me is thinking that this is just clickbait, especially how they said, you know, this is going to be the biggest score for whatever that company was. No disrespect, I just can't remember the name. And of course, with it being on ITV, kind of just show some red flags, especially because of Searching for Neverland and other controversies surrounding, like I said, with Mon Bashir and Michael Jackson, Mon Bashir and Princess Diana as well. But everybody, the best we can do is stay optimistic, because we don't know what it's going to be about yet, or what's going to be in it yet. I know we read the description, but all we gotta do is stay optimistic. I'm sure nothing serious will come out of this. And like I said, if anything happened, the Michael Jackson fan community will be right there. I have great faith in that. And I hope this really didn't sound like a rant. I was just a little bit upset, not gonna lie, when I read it. Because, you know, they're already trying to turn Neverland into something else. Now they're trying to turn the Neverland Zoo into something else. I think that's just going too far. And they're just really trying to do whatever they can to make money out of his name. And that's just not fair. But let's just stay optimistic and see what happens. Alright everybody, that is it for this video. Now let me know in the comments below, will you be watching this documentary? I probably won't be watching it until something crazy happens that I need to watch it for myself type of thing, if you know what I mean. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you won't miss out on any new videos. You can also follow MJ Central on TikTok at MJ Central 1958. Alright everybody, that's it for this video. I'll see you all later. Peace.